Hello everyone! My name is Anna Alimova. I work through the hologram of a person. I also transmit very powerful high codes from extraterrestrial civilizations. Mainly it's the Pleiades, Andromeda, and the Golden Pegasus. I also, of course, manifest all of this in matter. I am a millionaire, and I am on my way to becoming a dollar millionaire. In this video, as well as in others, I talk about how in the new realities you can align the energy that comes down to you from above, which transforms within you, giving you the states needed to experience the best branch of your reality. In this video, I wanted to share with you why some desires manifest quite rapidly, while others don't manifest at all, or the process is very slow and takes a long time. A little bit. I'll start by saying that, of course, each of us is a completely distinct individual, and within each of us is a whole universe. And as soon as you start interacting with a new desire, please realize that you are setting an entirely new vector in your reality. Your inner universe, your inner cosmos dies and is reborn anew. So there is a process of total destruction. That very death is happening. The death within your essence, you begin a kind of rebirth. And each time, our inner cosmos, our inner universe reacts to the new impulses that you create through your vision, your desires, dreams, and goals. In this particular video, I would really like to talk about why it is that we can want something from the moment of birth to the time of death and yet still not get it, while some other people can easily manifest everything that they want with just a snap of their fingers. I will share this deep and meaningful moment after I unpack certain important parallels that are very crucial and necessary for everyone right now. Because all of the information that comes through me is naturally directed to your very soul. Your soul needs to hear this right now, and that's why you are currently observing, being a kind of observer, watching me. My projection is activated through a certain hologram, and you see me. Otherwise, I simply wouldn't be able to enter your field. Because everything here is energy. Everything here consists of certain fields, and we interact through fields. And I, defined as a person, as a certain energy structure, have my own field. Naturally, each of you has your own specific field. And even the place where we are has certain fields. And these fields receive vibrational levels that can already be measured in hertz. Yes, that's not a secret. And just realize that when we start to build our new vision, our new picture, we begin to transform. What do we transform? Naturally, we start to change these vibrations, this vibrational frequency, meaning the hertz in the literal sense of the word. We either begin to raise them or, on the contrary, we start to lower them. And how does this happen? In my diagnostics, which are completely free of charge, I explain to everyone who comes to work with me because there are requests from many girls. And I won't lie if I say that 90% come without their own vision. So this is far from the goal, far from the dream that will truly be realized and unpacked. Why? Because it doesn't align with the plans and vision of the soul. If you deeply take something from the outside and start to manifest it, but your soul doesn't want to experience those things, then naturally it will take a very long time and be very difficult to realize. There will be various states that you will overcome. And I'm not talking about internal states when we are shaping ourselves. Please don't confuse that, because transformation and transmutation always come through certain events, which are not always very pleasant. Often we experience states that cause us pain, anxiety, doubt, irritation, and fear, and that's completely normal. So these kinds of states always come before stepping into a new phase, and this is always accompanied by those states that we fear, which create some resistance in our material world. Our brain, our programs are afraid of this. They don't understand why you are going through this now, why you are feeling this now. And it's important to give yourself a moment to really click into that and allow yourself the time to experience it and realize that if everything is falling apart right now, then something new is about to be born in its place. And as soon as you realize this, and you are in total trust in the space, in the universe, in the Creator, in God, however you want to call it, and you understand that everything is unfolding for you right now, the easier you experience it, the less you resist the space. Not to mention questioning why this is happening or for what purpose, and not doubting that everything happening in your life is inherently right and correct, then these transformations will go much more smoothly. I'm currently going through these transformations myself, and it can really be very, very tough in terms of the states we experience sometimes, because, as I mentioned before, we can experience in a week the cycle that we might normally go through in 28 years. Do you understand what vibrations and speeds are happening on the planet right now? But it's important for you to realize that right now, when these leaps are happening, when we are being propelled forward, it's important to understand that all souls have come here for a reason. especially those of you who are watching my information right now, realize that this information is for you. It was important for you to hear this at this moment. So, certain groups of souls are now forming communities. These communities are the fifth dimension. This community is the new world. This is when we interact with each other through consciousness, not through words, methods, or techniques. It's consciousness that works. It's the field that works. And when you realize all of this, when you allow it to be, you start to feel your vision of where you are going. Because when I do a diagnosis, when a person, whether a woman or a man, comes to me, we immediately start looking at their worldview, meaning where they are going, why they need any kind of growth in their reality, why development is necessary, and what all the resources, including money, are needed for. And we start with the very first slide, which is to gather your vision, to collect that goal, that dream that is yours, that resonates with your inner resources, and your soul will definitely provide you with certain parallels to guide you there. We start to upload this. So how do we upload it? In the literal sense, through me, through the fields that connect. Let me remind you that we are working with fields together. And even now, you hear me, you hear my words, but in reality, the field is being digitized. These binary codes, the jewel codes, are being absorbed into your torsion field. And you start to remember something. Something that, for example, sinks deep within you. Something begins to surface. Thoughts come, realizations. All of this is the work of the field. Let me remind you of an important part. We are, of course, this physical body. We are, of course, energy bodies. And then there is the overall field, the collective information field. This is a kind of sphere, a crystalline grid of the earth that is digitizing with us, where all information about all timelines exists, and where any of your projections live, the life of your dreams. That you truly desire, where you live the best possible life, the best scenario for your soul, and all of this already exists. As I said, you don't need to go anywhere for this. You don't need to create it. You don't need to think about how it will happen. You just need to trust the process. Realize that, yes, I want this. Yes, I desire this. This is important to me right now. This is needed in my reality, and this is true. This is what brings up certain vibrations in me, lifts them up. How can you recognize this at all? Look at how everything is being laid out. In this field of general information within the crystalline lattice of the earth, there is a scenario, the best possible option available to you at this moment. Your task is to synchronize with it. How does this happen? Let me give you an example. My own, figuratively, I want a house right now. I want to buy a house in Seattle. I think you probably already know about this. You've heard it. I've mentioned this multiple times already. And that Anna, who is currently living in this house, already exists. I've mentioned this before. That Anna emits a certain vibrational frequency, meaning it's a wave. It's in a specific range, let's say 800 hertz. That Anna emits 800 hertz, and all the events that correspond to this frequency, all the people, actions, everything is only at 800 hertz. And why don't dreams come true? Because when we start to interact and literally meditate, do practices, self-programming, experiencing any reality, any dream with our body, that's all fine, that's all okay, that's all great, super, wonderful. But here's the insight. Many people don't realize right now. Believe in this, and when it sinks in, and you feel strongly that you're there, you're at 800 hertz, you start making decisions and acting daily based on that frequency, even if not yet there. It's important when reality shifts, when the universe metaphorically dies and is created and you are sinking into it, when you deeply believe you have this, you're worthy. I want you to grasp this meaning, not just superficially. And it's important. When this reality starts to shift, when our universe has metaphorically died and begins to be created, and it has already been created, and you are sinking into it, when you truly believe deep down inside that you already have this, that you are already worthy of it. And I want you to really take the meaning from this, not just on the surface, okay? Yes, I am worthy. Why am I not worthy? So this action, in the literal sense, is Anna, who is currently at 800 hertz, recording videos with that vibration. She interacts with people at that frequency. She communicates at that frequency with her children and husband at home. So right now, I'm loading myself into that timeline where I already have everything. And I ask myself the question, how would I solve any issue? So look, I'll break it down right now as an example. I had a choice, whether to continue or not. I finished one training that cost several million rubles, and I had to decide whether to continue my education, whether to extend it, to join the second group. And of course, the logical question that comes to my mind is why? You just finished your first training, so why? Right now, it seems completely illogical. This is the decision of Anna, who is currently in this timeline where there isn't yet 800 hertz. When I load myself into that timeline, to my vision, to my certain point B where I already have everything, how would I react to that? Who has everything, meaning she is abundant, she already has it all? Of course, I would go without a second thought. And so I just take that and make the decision. And so it is with everything. So when I go to the store and I realize that it doesn't make sense right now, that it doesn't align with my situation to buy something or do something, I immediately ask myself a question. And what would this Anna do? How would she respond to that? Would she buy this? Would she buy this? And the answer comes right away, yes or no. And I do it, and any words I say yes, any decision I make it already from that timeline. And please realize, for the space, yes, the universe, there is no difference whether you are experiencing this in reality or if it's still just in your imagination. It starts to adjust to you. And how you start to believe in it, act on it, and live in this projection, it depends on the speed of realizing your vision, your goals, and dreams. And right now, I want you to not just skim the surface again, but to dive deep and realize what I'm conveying to you, these profound meanings, because this is how it always works. Let's take the example of how I moved to Miami. Many already know that when I lived in California, I didn't even have a couple of dollars for coffee. Yes, I realized that there were situations when my husband was the only one working. I was pregnant. And then I only gave birth to our third child. I was literally sitting there without a penny. And I understood, Anna, how can you get there? But it's several million rubles to move, to rent a decent apartment there, right? To live there after all, and to pay at least 1 million rubles a month for all your bills. How you literally don't have any money for coffee right now. How do you want to get into a completely different picture, a completely different reality in just a couple of months? And now look, this is key, right? I didn't think about how exactly I would do it. I simply began to live based on that Anya, who is now sitting, who is here in Miami, who is sitting there on the ocean shore, who is now telling you all these stories, who lived them herself. Yes, and it is very important that I am not just telling you these stories because I have read them somewhere, seen them somewhere. I have lived them myself on my own skin, so to speak. And who is sitting and telling you that it is accessible, that this is how it works. At that moment, when I was going to have coffee and I had a couple of dollars, I really wanted my picture to manifest faster. What was I doing? I started interacting with people from the projection as if I already had everything, So I would wake up and every day I was being born anew, aligning myself with that vibration that already exists in that timeline. I was talking to people, immersing myself. I started receiving some invitations. Completely new ideas began to come to me that had not previously conflicted with my vision. So I didn't understand how I could manifest this right now. There are no resources, nothing. So deep down, I still didn't fully believe that I was in control of my reality, that I was creating everything, including money. Please realize that you create money from your energy. You can create it instead of earning it. But in order for you to realize how this works, you have to become that person who creates that money. You understand. You have to believe in it. Figuratively speaking, when I was going to Starbucks and I had points for coffee, I was buying that coffee with my points, right? With my Starbucks rewards card. But I started doing diagnostics. I began conducting certain consultations, not from the projection of the Anna who could barely scrape together enough for coffee, but from the projection of the Anna who lives in Miami. And people could hear me, you understand? So they were already experiencing a completely different reality with me, and they felt the resonance, and they immediately took a lot of answers from my field, because they realized that everything works differently here, that energy works here. And it was this very moment that brought me to my current reality, to the picture I have today. And I know many people who didn't dare, who didn't believe, who wanted to see first and then act, and they are still where they are, and they will be there for a year, 2, or even 3, because it's impossible to just sit and wait for anything. At first we must die inside, our universe must die and be reborn anew. And now, once again, the key point, realize that as soon as you create a new goal and dream, your inner universe, your inner cosmos dies and begins to be reborn. Everything there starts to work. The materialization is already happening for you to the desired probability branch, and your task is to align with it. As soon as you get off track, as soon as you stop believing that you deserve it, that it can work out, that's it. You're on a different frequency. Figuratively speaking, when I believe that I already live in that house, that's 800 hertz, and right now I'm talking to you at that frequency. As soon as I start to doubt, as soon as I begin to make decisions from the current model, reality that I'm in, that's already 500, 600, 400 hertz. That's it. There are different events happening there. There are completely different results, and there are entirely different actions, and different thoughts are formed. And it's very important to realize this. If you take this insight for yourself right now, if you break it down the way you felt it, definitely leave a comment, because when you write a comment, an energy exchange happens. You can take it for yourself and integrate it, because when you just watch the video and don't comment at all, it still stays in your consciousness, but it doesn't sink in deeply. When you realize something, interpret it in your own way, as you understood it, and express it in words, write comments, because in reality, this creates an energy exchange, and you take those codes for yourself. So that's the information. I also wanted to mention that there is an opportunity for free diagnostics available to me for now, because soon my students will be the ones conducting them. And right now, the second group is forming, the second intake, the second group. What's happening in the second group is something fantastic. What incredible, the first group has already finished, they've graduated. What incredible women have gathered in the second group. It's just something, the first group has already finished, they've graduated. What incredible women have gathered in the second group right now. It's just something, I don't even know how to explain this in human earthly language. There is one girl, just realize the power of the decision you made. One girl, she lives at the train station in Moscow, at the 3-station square. And she realized that she wants to become a creator, that she has this vision inside her. She came to me for a diagnosis. We didn't even do it online. We just communicated through messages. And she said, Anya, I will do everything to get to you. And she made it. She joined my group. It's just something fantastic. How much the field guides you when you trust that field. And right now, I also had my personal transformation. When I spent 3 days in a hotel without the kids, without my husband, I just sat there with myself. And I did a kind of forgiveness practice for myself. And I accepted myself, I surrendered to myself in the prayer position. And it's very important for everyone to do this at the stage of rebirth. And images, slides from my childhood, from my youth just started to come up. My childhood was far from simple. So I wasn't just walking around playing with dolls. And just realized I could really feel and relive that image again when I was probably about 15. And it was already dark outside, I don't know. Maybe it was deep into the night, around midnight, or maybe 1 o'clock, and I was still out walking at that time. So my parents were busy with their own things. I was left, so to speak, to myself. But this was, of course, a choice of my soul. And I would hang out with friends, with girlfriends, and I could stay over at their place. And one fine day I was walking home. And it was the 90s. I think many know what the situations were like in the country and in the world back then, that the vibrations were very negative. I just understood that I was walking alone at night, 15 years old girls, and I had to go through a certain strip of forest. So it's a forest, right? I walked through it and realized that anything could happen to me. But for some reason, I didn't fully grasp that at the time. I felt that I trusted this world. I had such a strong energy field, and when you trust it, it starts to activate and work, creating everything for you. I might not even make it home, but for some reason back then, I didn't fully realize it. I felt that I trusted this world, and I had such a strong energy field. When you trust it, it starts to activate and work, creating everything for you. When I was practicing self-forgiveness, I accepted that little girl, forgave her, and asked for her forgiveness for everything I could experience and everything I couldn't. In the end, I had a vision that I needed to buy a small doll and release it into the sea. I did it. I made it happen. But the point is that I realized the deeper meaning. We can absolutely control nothing here except for ourselves. I did it. I made it happen. But the point is that I realized here is the deep meaning. We can control absolutely nothing here except ourselves. We have absolutely no influence on anything in this world except ourselves and our energy. And if we believe in this world, if we trust it and surrender to it in trust, then nothing will ever happen to us. That should not happen. So, no events will occur. If we fear something, like losing money or anything else, if we fear it, it's likely to happen to us. But when we trust that everything here is for us, that what is happening to us right now is part of the divine script we need to experience, everything will turn out in the best possible way. I realized this from the example of when I could walk alone as a little girl through the forest at night, through certain strange and questionable paths. But when we trust that everything here is for us, that what is happening to us now is the entire divine scenario that is important for us to live through, everything will be only in the best possible version. I realized this from the example when I could walk alone at night as a little girl through the forest, through certain streets that were very strange and questionable. And nothing happened to me. I'm sitting here now, alive and well, talking to you, and anything could have happened. Do you understand? And when you feel that power, that love of the world, you stop questioning everything in this world, and you really start to live a relaxed life, knowing that every day is for you. And if you surrender and trust and do what comes from within, when you feel that response, you hear something, you listen to someone, and you say, yes, I want to interact more closely with this person. How do I make decisions right now? Here's the 3-second rule. I felt the response, so I'm doing it. Even now, I had a kind of work Zoom meeting with a group. I just wanted to record a video. I understand that I need to get ready to grab the microphone. I have all this equipment for recording YouTube, but I'm not doing anything because the response is more important. I just turn on my phone and start recording. Even here, sitting by the water with the wind blowing, I realize that it's important for me to share my energy with you. I don't care about delivering a high-quality image or sound to you. It's all artificial. There's a lot of that. You can watch anyone with high-quality sound. I'm currently digitizing with codes. I'm sharing my energy with you because in this moment, I caught that situation and I want to transform it and give it to you. So that's the information, dear ones. So right now is a very important time. As my very good acquaintance, a former NASA employee who's now older, says, the planet is currently uniting those groups, those people. Groups are forming, and this is the community, and this is the fifth dimension, which has come here to revive a new world, which has come here to awaken the collective consciousness. This is very important. It's very important for you to trust yourself, to trust your own power. And then you will be under total protection and completely new facets will open up. And what I always say about interacting with extraterrestrial civilizations, as soon as we understand ourselves, this matter in the third dimension, in the fourth density, then the next levels open up to us and they themselves begin to interact. But it's important for us to sort things out with ourselves before moving on to the next stage. Because as a civilization, we are still lagging far behind in development. And other civilizations are much higher in rank, so to speak. They are helping us because, yes, we are part of this alliance, the Earthly Alliance, the Extraterrestrial Alliance, the Star Alliance. We are involved as a civilization. And we have very strong genes, meaning our genetics come from extraterrestrial civilizations, groups, as I've mentioned, including the Pleiades, Andromeda, the Golden Pegasus, Orion, and Sirius. There's actually a lot mixed in us. And all these extraterrestrial civilizations have directly participated in creating us as an earthly civilization. And that's why it's very important for us to realize who we really are, to remember these codes, unpack your inner strength, start managing your reality, stop suffering, stop striving for something, and constantly fighting for the money that we create from our energy, and just realize that it's time for us to move on. We've been sitting in the first grade for so long that they're already waiting for us in the fifth grade, but we just can't seem to get through the second, third, and fourth. So that's the information, dear ones. Make sure to subscribe to my Telegram channel, where I share how to go through your own transformation. Sign up for a free diagnosis with me. I also have a very powerful course going on that unpacks everything. So there, I've gathered all the methods that I used to offer for 500,000 rubles. All the techniques, all the methods, I've now packed into one course. Why? Because my focus right now is on working with people on the group. I'm currently creating groups and offering personal mentoring. And that's why in the course I'm sharing absolutely all the techniques. I stopped dividing them. I just gathered everything into one space, and I'm sharing it. Make sure to take it. There's a lot of everything there. On any topics, relationships, money, health, there are absolutely all the techniques that I work with and that I use to create my timelines. And of course, anyone who wants to dive into incredible depth, you're welcome to come for a diagnosis. After the diagnostics, I decide whether you should join the group or not, because I don't take everyone, but the diagnostics will definitely change your direction. I hug you and want to say that you are the best people on this planet.